Hello everyone, I'm Claire Marie B and welcome to my channel. Thanks for joining me today. I am setting up my new 2022 bullet journal and I wanted to share that with you. If you're brand new to bullet journaling, this is a great place to start, and I will put a link to my other yearly and half-yearly setups in the description section of this video if you want to go back and check them out. Let's jump straight into the setup. The journal I'm using today is an Archer and Olive A5 dotted journal. I have thought about going up to a B5, but I think I might find it a little bit too big for me. So for now, I'm going to stick to A5. This is my cover page and I'm keeping it nice and simple. I really liked the gold moon and stars on the front of the journal, so I decided to keep that throughout the setup, and I'm teaming that with the green Tombow pen that I've used to write the 2022. I've wanted to use this colour for quite a while, but it hasn't suited any of the previous monthly spreads that I've done, so I'm really glad to be using it in the yearly setup. I've also decided to use kraft paper as I think it goes really well with the green and with the gold, and it just adds a little something extra. You can use any kraft paper for this, and I'll often use recycled packaging, and you place an order and you get a box and it's just filled with that brown paper, so I'll often use that. But I found in the last year I've used the kraft paper so much that I decided to buy an Archer and Olive dotted notebook, which has perforated tear out kraft paper and it's already got the dots on. It was a great investment for me because I'm able to match up the dots as best as I can on the pages. Sometimes it doesn't work out completely to plan, but I found using the dotted notebook really helpful. If you've seen any of my monthly plan with me videos, you'll know that I like to do a quote page or an inspiration page to the left of my cover page. However, for my yearly setup, I'm doing a grid spacing guide on the left-hand side. I use this a lot throughout the year, so it really helps me to have it in the most convenient page for me, which is the first page on the left. I draw out all the spacing that I use the most often throughout the journal, and then I have it as a quick reference guide. When I'm setting up a monthly or weekly spread, if I use a space that isn't included in this guide, then I'll draw it in so that I can copy that into my future spreads as well. My next setup is my future log. I'm cutting along the right hand page to create a Dutch door, as I'll be doing 3 months per page. That will all make much more sense when I start to draw it out. I'm drawing my title across the whole of the 2 pages as the future log, and I'm going to be using the green for this and the gold again. If you're wondering about the gold pen, I'll put a link to that in the section below as well. I tried out lots of different gold pens before landing at this one. I even toyed with using paints. As you'll know from my plan with me, I've got some Kaleiro paints that I love. The gold pen was super easy to use and it was really shiny, so it was perfect for what I wanted. As I say, I'll leave the link for you below to the pen that I got. I'm then using the gold pen to highlight and do some drop shadow underneath my lettering. Again, if you've been watching my monthly spread, you'll know that this year has been a real focus for me on my lettering, and I like to think I'm much improved. I think when I do my yearly flip through, it's going to be really interesting to see back to the start of the year and how hopefully I've progressed. I'm writing out the months of the year across each of the pages. You'll notice from here I'm setting up the second half first, and then I will flip back and do the first half of the year. I'm using the same lettering style of the faux calligraphy, but instead of doing green lettering in the faux section, I'm using the gold pen this time, and I'm going to reverse it and do the green as the drop shadow underneath all of those. I'm writing out the monthly view calendar at the top of each column, and then I'm leaving a free space to write in special dates, events, birthdays, and anything else that I know in advance. In my first yearly setup, I listed out all of the days of the month in the column and then filled in when I had an event or something coming up, a special date that I needed to remember. I found that caused me problems. I ended up with wasted space because I didn't put something on every day of the month, and also if a date cancelled or changed, it didn't leave me with any space to write the change date or information, and it was quite small. And this is what's the great thing about bullet journaling. You can try lots of different things out and then find the best thing that works for you, and that's exactly what I've done with this, and I just find this is the easiest way for me to list out my monthly events in advance. Now I'm jumping back over to fill in the first half of the year, and I'm going to set that up exactly the same as I did the second half. Once I have this future log fully set up, I'll go back to my 2021 journal and copy over all of the key dates and put in the events that I know are happening in 2022. You might have noticed I'm not doing a year at a glance page. If you're not sure what that is because you're new to bullet journaling, it's a one-page spread where you write out all of the months of the year and you basically copy out what I've written at the top of each of the columns. It's that on a page so you can see the year to view. It's great, and I know that really works for some people, but for me, I did do it in my first bullet journal and I never went back to that page again. I never used it for anything from an organisation perspective. I didn't highlight any dates. I then had a future log where I wrote everything in, so it just felt like a duplication. And let's face it, it takes a long time to write all those things out. I know some people find that quite therapeutic, or they like to write it all out, but not me. I get bored after like the first or second month. So I prefer to just do it like this and not have a month to view, because it just wouldn't make any sense for me. The other thing you might have noticed that I haven't included is a key. The first bullet journals I had actually came with a key already printed in them, so I've never actually drawn one out. And when I decided to try out a new bullet journal like the Archer and Olive one, which didn't come with a key printed in, I was so used to doing my own coding, I really didn't need to draw a key out to refer back to. And I know sometimes it can just look visually appealing, but I really just didn't need it. I'm adding some washi tape just to put something a little different in there. I love washi tape. I think it really enhances spreads. And now I'm on to my next spread, which is all around goals. When I first started bullet journaling, I found the goals section a bit challenging and I really didn't enjoy it. My first journals were much more focused on organisation, which really worked for me. And over the last year, they've evolved because of the pandemic, with lockdowns, etc. It allowed me to be a lot more creative and use the journal in other ways, like for well-being and self-reflection. So I've decided to step out of my comfort zone and do a little bit more on goals this year. I'm not going crazy and I'm not going to have tons of pages dedicated to this, but on the left-hand page, I am going to do some reflections on the past year. And on the right-hand side, I'm going to list out my goals for the forthcoming year. I'm pushing myself outside of my comfort zone and making myself do this as I want to be more self-reflective and grow in many different ways over the next year. And I know deep down the goals are really going to help me to do that. So I have to just face that, include it, and use it, but do it in a way that's fun for me. So it's much more about celebrating and looking back with as much joy as possible on the last year. There's been quite a few challenging things that have happened for everybody. So I think it's good for a bit of reflection and then look at how I can use that to grow in the next year. For the reflections on the left-hand page, I'm going to be reflecting on career wins, bullet journaling wins, look at what I needed more of in the year, think about how my year would have been even better if, and also think about what I learned, and finally what were the best bits for me. When I use my journal, it's all about the personal things for me. I have quite a busy day job and I have digital organisation tools where I have lots of to-do lists and lots of things to do. So I want my journal to be a place where I can disconnect from work. I've been a bit of a tinker in the past and I work long hours and find it difficult to switch off. So the bullet journal for me is all about that switching off and having a creative space, something for well-being and all about me. So if I start to put work to-do lists and things like that in here, it's going to end up over time just becoming more about work and less about focusing on myself, which is what I want this to be, so that I can be kinder to myself. So when I think about career wins, or I say career in my journal, it's not about the day job, it's more about everything encompassing with that. It might be a new qualification I want to do, something I want to learn, a course I might want to do, all about how I evolve and not specifically with the day job that I am doing. So that's what career wins will be about, and also then my career goals that are on the right hand page. That will be much more encompassing than just what I want to achieve in my current day job. We're now on to my final spreads for the yearly setup. The one on the left hand side is going to be 22 in 22. I'm really excited to be doing this spread, to list out the 22 key things I want to do in 2022. I know I'm not creating anything new here and I don't profess to. I know lots of people have done this before, but I can't stop laughing because of how excited I am about it, but I haven't done something like this before. So I'm quite looking forward to really focusing on some positives and what I'm looking forward to in 2022, and I felt that this is going to be a really good spread to do that in. Last year, it's 2021, isn't it? I'm already thinking I'm in 2022. For 2021, I had a memories page where I filled it in with lots of things that I wanted to do across 2021. After 2020, most of that was spent in lockdowns and not being able to do things, not seeing lots of people. So I really wanted to fill 2021 full of lots of things. And if I had just listed 21 in 21, I would have ran out of space. There was too many things. So for 2022, I'm doing 22 in 2022 and picking my most favourite things. I'm sure my memory spreads monthly will include a lot of other things that I want to do as well. For the dots, I've used some craft paper on the left-hand page as well, and I decided to reverse the dots, doing the green on the white paper and the gold on the craft paper. On the right-hand page, this is my Check It Out spread. I really love box sets and movies and books and podcasts and discovering new things, and I like to have a place to list out all those things of what I want to watch next. I totally understand that the different apps and TV streaming services allow you to add things to the list. But I lose track of what I'm watching on there, what I haven't watched, etc. So on the right hand page, I'm going to list out any recommendations that I get, anything that I see adverts for, I think, wow, that looks really good. I've evolved one of my monthly spreads into listing things that I'm watching that month, as I did have a great big list spread at the front of a journal, but I was never coming back to that. So I'm finding this is a great place to come back to as a reference. Then on my monthly spreads, I'll list what it is that I'm actually watching that month, and then I can keep track of things. I realised that my name section wasn't jazzy enough, so I decided to come back and do some gold pen on there. And here's my final flip through. Thanks so much for watching today. If you've enjoyed watching, please hit subscribe so that you're notified when I release new content. And don't forget to tag me in your creations on Instagram as well. I love seeing those. Have a really fantastic end of the year, and I look forward to seeing all your 2022 setups. Bye.